It's been 2 years since Nintendo captured everyone's heart with the original release of Splatoon on the Wii U, and now Nintendo is looking to bring its sequel to their new home console, the Nintendo Switch. So how did Nintendo handle the sequel to the IPs that caught everyone off guard? Did they recreate the same mistakes of old? Does the game feel too much like an HD remaster? Or is Splatoon 2 truly the sequel the series needed? Let's first talk about Splatoon 2's single-player campaign Hero Mode. This is a returning mode from the original Splatoon that is there to act like a tutorial for the player to get a hang of the game for the multiplayer aspect. However, the difference being in this one from the first game is that this mode is entirely fleshed out and feels extremely well realized. The first game's single-player campaign had an issue of feeling very samey the entire time through, especially since you could only use one weapon through the entire campaign, and only a slight change-up with Amiibo. This game, on the other hand, not only has unique level designs that build off each other in various levels, but gives you the chance to play each stage with various different weapons. Sheldon will sometimes ask you to test drive his latest weapons in certain levels, which will then allow you to use said weapons whenever you want to mix things up. That being said, some levels in the game will require you to play with certain weapons for the first time for more testing purposes. And honestly, this was alright. These levels all feel like they were built around the idea of multiple different weapon usages, adding a ton of replay value to almost all of the levels. Another thing I really enjoyed about this game's single-player campaign is just how realized the game is. All of the levels in this game feel extremely well crafted, with many ways to complete them depending on the weapon you choose. I think what was really cool was that sometimes when a gimmick is introduced, they will sometimes combine 2 or 3 level gimmicks into one level to keep the gameplay fresh for your whole experience. Each level also has a lot of collectibles to find as well. Some of them will help you out in the multiplayer aspect of the game too. These collectibles are generally pretty well hidden, so take your time when looking for them. The game also has a nice sense of challenge too. The further you go into the campaign, the trickier some of the puzzles become, and the more you'll have to think before you ink. And the last thing I should mention is that all of the boss battles in this game are a ton of fun too. Each one is very unique in how you go about fighting them, and some will even give you a run for your money. Now onto the bread and butter of the game. Splatoon 2's multiplayer is probably where you'll be spending the vast majority of your time after completing the campaign mode. The gameplay from the first game is pretty much unchanged. We're still fighting in 4v4 matches, whether it be in turf or ranked matches. Your objective is either to cover the ground with as much of your ink as possible, or complete the objective for the map. Rounds are still very fast paced and never last more than about 5 or so minutes. It's the quick nature of these battles that leads them to become incredibly addicting. Also, unlike the first Splatoon game, there is a wide variety of weapons to choose from out the gate all the way up until level 30. Something they had fixed from the previous Splatoon is the level up system. Leveling up felt like a drag and would take ages to do so. Thankfully, you can consume food to boost your experience for up to 20 matches. You can get double your base experience with these food items, making for faster level up times. This is especially useful for wanting to either get to rank 10 to enter into ranked matches, or to get the next big weapon you are looking at. There are also a ton of different end match bonuses that reward you based on your performance, such as the amount of turf you covered to time bonuses. Some other differences from the original game in terms of controls would be the reworking of special moves and the missing Wii U gamepad. Instead of using the gamepad to get a feel for the battle and to quick jump to your teammates, you now press the X button to bring up an overlay of the area. While it's a bit jarring at first, it soon becomes second nature to use that map and the D-pad and or motion controls to warp to your teammates. When it comes to the special moves, all of them have been replaced with new counterparts, and in this game feel a tad bit more unique in their strategy. Instead of just launching one general ink strike, you can launch several homing ink missiles at your enemy, and instead of being knocked around in your bubble, you can activate super armor that can prolong you and your teammates' survivability. The change of pace is welcomed in this game and can lead to countless new strategies. One thing that stayed the same is what you do with your fight money. After each match, you get some coinage to use on purchasing new weapons and or outfits to keep your squid fresh. Like in previous games, your stats are tied to the outfit you are wearing, and can gain more abilities the more you level up your outfit. Don't like the ability you have on it for now? Well, you can always go and reroll your stats on your outfit, or use ability chunks to add certain abilities to completely bypass rerolls. The only problem with the outfits is finding the right mix of fashion and practicality. Ranked modes feel pretty much the same from the original Splatoon. Here is where you get to play Tower Defense, Rainmaker, and Splat Zones for higher ranks. However, this time around they have made ranking up a bit easier. Instead of having to slog your way through each letter rank, you can now jump ahead multiple ranks if your battle performance is better than the rest. I currently haven't found out what determines your rank to increase more than others, but it is a welcome addition. What I also enjoyed was the game also keeps individual letter ranks for each type of ranked mode. So if you want to focus on getting to S+ in the modes you like, it's much easier to do so now and less burdensome. Overall, ranked is still just as tense and action-packed as the last game, only to be improved by the new ranking system. The only thing I wish is that they could have included is some way to play the different game modes in non-ranked matches. While yes, you can play them in private servers with friends, it would have been a welcomed addition if you could play these game modes in pubs and not worry about your rank. However, unlike the first game, the only way to squad up with friends in ranked matches would be to play in League mode. This is where you and your friends will be joining others to fight for glory during the current map rotation. These matches will also go towards your rank, and you can get other rewards for playing in this mode. The only way to partake in the League mode, though, is if you get a rank of B- or higher, which is a bit unfortunate, but due to how the ranking system works, it shouldn't take you too long to get to B-. Now on to the newest game mode, Salmon Run. It acts as a horde mode as you fight waves of salmon for your contractor. Your main goal is to deal with the bosses who drop the coveted golden eggs and keeping the normal salmon at bay, while collecting enough eggs within the time limit. This mode is nothing but fast action and fun, and will probably end up being my most played mode. While this game mode was made with local play in mind, I only had the opportunity to play this game mode online. This mode can only be accessed on certain dates online as well, which is a bit of a drag. That said, when you finally get into a Salmon Run game, it's nothing but pure bliss. Leveling up in Salmon Run is similar to leveling up in ranked matches. For every match you successfully complete, your rank goes up, and the higher your rank is, the more challenging the game mode becomes, and the more rewards you can unlock. However, be careful if you can't find a full lobby, because if you don't, the wave starts regardless, and you are in it for yourself and can still be penalized quite a bit for losing this way. Salmon Run is probably one of my favorite modes in Splatoon 2, and can be quite challenging at times, so it's always good to try and squad up with friends, which you can do thankfully. Similar to League, you can also go into these matches with friends and level up together. Just bear in mind if you are higher ranked than they are, you won't level up on your own. Another good thing about this mode is that it does support voice chat with friends as well, albeit through a bit of a wonky process. This is easily one of those game modes where communication is the difference between victory and defeat. Visually, Splatoon 2 is also really pretty to look at. Whether it be in handheld, tabletop mode, or docked, the entire art direction manages to hit home the summer vibe very well, and I love it. Also, it's quite therapeutic covering the ground with ink. The shiny texture of it just makes it so satisfying to look at. The sound design for this game is also on point. While the game does reuse tracks from previous games, it has enough original tracks done by Pearl and Marina to make up for it. Each track always manages to get your blood pumping during a match. The maps in this game are really well designed and a lot of fun to play on. Even older maps return revamped for this game with new gimmicks, such as ink lines and sponges to add an extra level to old classics. That said, not all the maps are all the best. There were a few maps I just really couldn't get into, and due to the map rotations I would often find myself playing on the same map several times in a row without any mix-up of the other maps in the rotation. This is where having the ability to vote for a map before a match would probably come in handy. Splatoon 2 is a game that is better than the original game in almost every way possible. From the revamping of the weapons, to the fully fleshed out campaign, to the full amount of content at launch, this game does its best to not repeat all the mistakes of its predecessor. Splatoon 2 in every regard feels like a true sequel to the first game, which I hope quells anyone's fears of the game being just a Splatoon 1.5. While the map rotations are still annoying and the lack of general voice chat for ranked matches is concerning, everything else this game has to offer is pure multiplayer bliss. And with the continued updates in Splatfest, Splatoon 2 is looking to become my most played game on the Nintendo Switch. And that does it for our review of Splatoon 2. To see the written review, be sure to check out our website, GamingGamma.com. A link to that review will be provided down in the description bar below once it goes live. And if you have any questions for me or any comments about the review, please leave them down in the comment section below and I'll do my very best to answer them for you. And if you haven't done so already, be sure to check out some of the other gameplay videos I have of Splatoon 2 up on this channel. And if you're new to my channel, just finding me out through this review, hey, be sure to stick around for a while and subscribe. We'll have a ton of fun here together. And as always everyone, thanks for watching.